Hey everyone, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where we show you the coolest custom creations we happen to see people building throughout the week in LEGO. And like always, you can find the Flickr accounts to everybody that I have showcased in this episode today, and more that I haven't had time to talk about. This week's custom build that went up in the web store is actually my own creation. It's the micro scale Ghost. It's supposed to scale, it does scale, with the Falcon and Outrider and the rest of the fleets that have been created in the past. This was a really fun build to put together. It was probably in the works on and off for over a year, which is kind of interesting considering it's so darn small. But anyways, you can find the building instructions at our web store. That's www.brickvault.toys. And let's jump into the very first build of the week. Not too long ago, I saw the Enter the Spider-Verse movie. It's a great animated film, and this character really was a lot of fun. From one of the different Spider-Man universes, we have SpiderHam from Alan Moore. The build itself is relatively simple. There's a couple of funny connections and interesting pieces used. I like the red chairs, for example, used to make the ear endings as well as the build for the hands. But other than that, this guy actually feels very simple. He looks pretty posable, and all in all, it's a fun character. I think it was captured really well in LEGO, and I especially appreciate the black plate detailing around the eyes. Number 9, moving down. Also, not from the movies, but I did also see that Pikachu detective movie recently, and I don't know if we saw Venusaur, but we definitely saw Bulbasaur. Anyways, this is Venusaur by David. That's not David, but David. This is a builder we have not featured before, and if you like the original 151 Pokemon, you'll probably like what this person puts out. The vignette that goes around Venusaur looks awesome. I highly recommend you check out the Blastoise and Charizard as well. And then number 8, moving down, is an interesting take on a boat. This is called the Rhapsody, and what I mean by an interesting take is that I haven't seen a boat made completely or nearly completely out of Technic pieces. Certainly, I think many of you have probably seen the sails being built out of those nice, long, smooth, white wing plate pieces. That is the case for the boat here, but you can also see they have been used layered all along the sides for the hull of the ship, as well as some of the steering mechanisms too. This is just the most Technicified LEGO ship I've seen. It looks quite sleek. I really love the shape that ended up as the final product, and I just find it interesting that you don't see more attempts to build ships out of these types of pieces, because this looks pretty darn good. That build was from Ted Andes. It says it's ready to go at BrickWorld Chicago for 2019. And then number 7, moving down, is a very interesting one. We've got the WA59, the Wasp, from the builder Gonkius. Now on the surface, this might look like a pretty simple looking ship just from a first glance, but there are some amazing building techniques thrown in there. Very subtle, and I think relatively complex as well. You can see that this wasp-like colored ship has this little bulge that comes out the top and the bottom that can be achieved by just slightly bending those brick connections over a long enough period of time, or a long enough period of studs connected in there, that you can get just a slight arc. That relatively new colored windscreen piece from the LEGO Movie 2 has been used as the main front of the screens. Inside you can see the Insectoids helmet that's been lit up with some black lights. Just a pile of cheese, trans-clear cheese stuff at the bottom with lights coming through. It's just kind of eerie. We have that weird geodesic patterned sides that kind of look like bug eyes, right? Again, like this is inspired from a Wasp design, so that kind of makes sense. And then the back, it looks like there's also a lot of fan pieces used for the flames in the back. So just a lot of fun, interesting build choices. The ship seems simple at first, though there are a lot of advanced techniques thrown in here, and I like the overall product. Now number 6 is going down to a slightly more simple build approach, I suppose, but Ochre Jelly has some amazing projects and also is quite good at composing a piece. I love the shot, the over-the-shoulder shot of our unsuspecting space marine or astronaut or somebody who's investigating this egg that opens up. If you are at all familiar with Ridley Scott's Alien franchise, you'll have a pretty good idea that this does not end well for our humble explorer. The lighting is amazing. The builds certainly do capture the quality of the character and the folding gaping open egg mouth shape is certainly undeniably distinct. This is a really fun one. Let's move on to number 5. From Thomas Jenkins, who actually has some Star Wars builds up in our web store right now, comes another amazing Star Wars build. This is probably one of the best versions of the RZ2. That is the newest, the Resistance version of the Awing that's come out in episode 7, 8, and I suppose 9. What makes them a little bit more distinct from the traditional A-Wings that we saw from the original trilogy is that they are a little bit thinner, a little bit sleeker, and I can't tell because there are no perspective shots just pointing at it right from the front, but I do get the impression that this does feel just a little bit smoother. You can see the barrel pieces, those 1x1 cylinders that are moved along the edge, and possibly some Technic pieces as well, the lift arms that make up the detailing on the wings as they splay out towards the guns. Really amazing details though. I love the curved blue, and based on the feedback that I can see from the Flickr account, that I can see a lot of people are loving this design as well. Good job, Thomas. Moving down to number 4. Apparently this is from Elder Scrolls, or at least inspired from Elder Scrolls. I don't know. I am aware of the game, but I was not aware it had such odd, disturbing machine creatures. I'm not totally sure how this even came to be. Looks like they are actually used as a form of transport within the game. It does look like a large flea now that I've read the description. You can see the smaller mandibles in the front and the very long, somewhat elegant looking legs below. In universe, I suppose this thing would be built from wood, and just within this whole composition, it does kind of have a steampunk feel to it, though there's no bronze or gold, or steam for that matter, attached to the vehicle. It's a wonderful bit of the world here. I like those tall, weird-looking mushrooms that hang out at the bottom of the on the ground next to the river here. And let's move on to the last 3. These aren't really top 3. I don't really go in any particular order of best to worst, but these are the last 3. I just have to go back to full plate. This builder is amazing when it comes to plant builds or nature builds. He's always thinking of new techniques in order to create a new type of shape that we have not quite seen yet within the building world. And this latest take on a tree, it's actually a pick-a-brick wall tree, is probably one of the coolest trees I've seen. I swear I say this every time he makes a new plant. I say it's the coolest version of this plant, but I think his technique is really refined, and you just see shapes you haven't quite seen before. That leafy piece with the single stud on it has been used in, I don't know what that inner sphere looks like, but he managed to make a pretty darn good looking spherical shape that's a little bit rough around the edges, which, you know, for a tree like this it kind of needs to be, but I could imagine seeing a forest full of different sized versions of trees that build like this could be a really amazing thing as a much larger scale build. Really incredible details. Love this tree. You should check out some of his other builds for other nature things that he's putting out there. And number 2, this one was so fun. This is Billy Gibbons' Catzilla by Tim Inman. You just don't see a lot of big purple builds out there. Purple is one of the less common colors, or you just have a less of a selection, I suppose, when you choose to build in only purple or nearly only purple. But this lowered down customized Cadillac looks so good. The hood reveals a pretty simple build for an engine, but mostly I'm just allured by all the fun slope shapes that we get along the front, and especially from the roof and that slow curve towards the back. The back wheels are hidden, it looks like. Maybe there's wheels on the inside of this build. I don't really know. It looks like there's little to no clearance between the back bumper and the ground, and it reminds me of what that alien boss guy would have driven from the latest iteration of the Space Police line. Now, jumping on to the last build of the week, this is from Space Hopper. We have the Heavy Starfighter. Very simple name for a very not simple build. Heavy certainly fits quite well though. This thing is very bulky and large. You can see some extremely big thrusters that are attached on either wing, though the wings themselves on this build feel like they're almost decorations more than anything else. I doubt they could actually hold this thing up in atmosphere. It's just a really large space vehicle that is meant to take out just about anything that comes in front of it. I think what really grabs me here is the interesting color combination. That new teal color is really being put to good use here, and the orange highlights are also quite a grabby kind of color for this ship. This is something that isn't trying to camouflage itself at all. I have a feeling that a space vehicle like this is supposed to be able to take a beating but dish out an even bigger one. Some really interesting building techniques were used though, and I'd say maybe the best part of the ship, my favorite part of the ship, are the thrusters in the back. Anyways guys, there's a ton of other builds that were amazing this week. They're flashing by the screen right now. Let me know which ones were your favorites, and if you enjoy our content, you can always like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Hey everybody, just wanted to pop in very quickly, let you guys know that we've got a LEGO web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell the PDF step-by-step instructions for some incredibly awesome LEGO MOCs. I highly recommend you guys go check it out if you're interested in building something a little bit more high quality, way more detailed, and the revenue from the web store helps support us here at the channel, as well as the designers that build these awesome LEGO creations. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.